this section asks the question, within this whole proforma or within the whole picture of tribal revolution, where in this picture does Dobdi Majan fit? What is the purpose of Dobdi Majan and what is the condition of her? Okay, to this question, what we find, she must have some connection with the fugitives. The cause for fear is elsewhere. The ones who remain have lived a long time in the primitive world of the forest. They keep company with the poor harvest workers and the tribals. They must have forgotten book learning. Perhaps they are orienting their book learning to the soil they live on and learning new combat and survival techniques. So what we find here is that the picture of Dobdi Majan fits within this whole society where she is assigned, she is connected with the fugitives, and what we find out here is that the cause of her fear is elsewhere because she has been relegated to the margin more and more, because she is not getting any kind of benefit from the society, any kind of benefit from the government, any kind of benefit for their upliftment. And so what they are to do, they have to focus on their own surviving method, their own surviving tactics, and keep on surviving and combating with new techniques, learning new combat techniques in order to survive, because this army is continuously harping on them. This army is continuously uh, coming on them, right? So what we find here is that this situation needs to be tackled by them with new survival techniques, and they are associated with the poor harvest workers and the tribals, and with their help only they can survive. One can shoot and get rid of the ones whose only recourse is extrinsic book learning and sincere intrinsic enthusiasm. Those who are working practically will not be exterminated so easily. Therefore, Operation Jharkhandi Forest cannot stop. Reason the words of warning in the army handbook. So what we find here is that people who are still fighting, this records the people who are still fighting will keep on fighting, and because they are fighting, the operation against them will continue. Clear? মানে যে লোকরা ট্রাইবালসরা যারা রিভোল্ট করছে, তাদের রিভোল্টটা কি নতুন নতুনভাবে নতুন সার্ভাইভাল টেকনিক্স দিয়ে, নতুন কম্ব্যাটের টেকনিক্স দিয়ে তারা ইউজ করছে। কিসের জন্যে? তারা ইউজ করছে সার্ভাইভ করার জন্য নতুন করে, রাইট? বাট হোয়াট উই ফাইন্ড হিয়ার ইজ দ্যাট সেই টেকনিক্সগুলো ইউজ করার ফলে কি হচ্ছে, সেই টেকনিক্সগুলো ইউজ করার জন্যে তারা সার্ভাইভ করে যাচ্ছে, আর তারা প্র্যাকটিক্যালি যে ওয়ার্ক করছে সেই ওয়ার্কটা কন্টিনিউ হচ্ছে যেহেতু, তার জন্যে কি তাদের স্ট্রাগলটা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি এগোতে থাকছে। ওকে, অ্যান্ড তার জন্যে তাদের এগেইনস্টে যে ফরেস্টের যে মুভমেন্টটা সেটাও হচ্ছে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে। ক্লিয়ার? ক্যাচ Dobdi Majan, she will lead us to the others. Dobdi was proceeding slowly with some rice knotted into her belt. So what we see here is that Dobdi is the source. Dobdi is the medium through which they can break open into the tribal outfit. Okay, so they are asking to get hold of Dobdi, and she was harmless at this moment because she was carrying the rice knotted in some kind of a cloth and moving. Mushai Tudu's wife had cooked her some rice. She does so occasionally. When the rice is cold, Dobdi knots it into her waistcloth and walks slowly. So there are people who are sympathetic to their cause. Okay, in the margins there are people who are sympathetic to their cause, by the names you can understand they are of the margins, mushai to do. Okay, they are of the margins, and these marginal people are the source of support to other marginalized sections of the society. Okay, and that is what is being told over here, or that is what is being shown over here, that the marginalized section is helping Dobdi. তাহলে ওরা রান্না করবে কোথায়, পাবে কোথায়, খাবার পাবে কোথায়? And she does so occasionally. Mushai Tudu's wife does so occasionally in order to help Dobdi. Okay, as she worked, she picked out and killed the lice in her hair. So কন্ডিশনটা দেখ, যে এরকম কোনো না যে খুব বড় ঘরের বা ভালো জায়গায় বাস করে, তাদের মাথায় উকুন রয়েছে, ঠিক আছে? দবদি যখন হেঁটে যাচ্ছে, সে তার মাথার থেকে হচ্ছে একটা লাইস ছিল, সেইটাকে হচ্ছে মেরে ফেললো চুলের থেকে। ইফ শি হ্যাড সাম কেরোসিন, শি উড রাব ইট ইনটু হার স্ক্যাল্প অ্যান্ড গেট রিড অফ দ্য লাইস. Then she could wash her hair with baking soda. But the bastards put traps at every bend of the falls. If they smell kerosene in the water, they will follow the scent. So, living conditionটা কতটা deteriorated কন্ডিশনে রয়েছে তাদের, সেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছিস তো? তাদের মাথায় উকুন রয়েছে, তারা জানে কি করে হচ্ছে সেটাকে মুছে ফেলতে হবে, সেই লাইস থেকে হচ্ছে মুক্ত হতে হবে। বাট হোয়াট উই ফাইন্ড, in spite of knowing all the techniques, which are very primitive to say, kerosene cannot be a substitute for any other medical treatment for lice, right? But what we find here is that she knows what to do, but she cannot, because she has to watch every step of her in order to survive. Because if she watches any step which is against her, will be used against her to get to catch her, and also not just her but also the whole clan. Okay, if she washes the hair after putting on kerosene, and the water that is the source of life is actually has turned into a trap, every fall which would be used by the, which could be used by the what can you say, the tribals or the revolutionaries, everywhere there is a trap. Okay, and that is why they have to be extra cautious about the things that they do. Okay, Dobdi, she does not respond. So two people are following him and they call out her name, but she does not respond, because if she responds, if she turns back, that is the assertion, that is she is asserting to the fact that she is Dobdi. She never responds when she hears her own name. বুঝলি তো? সে নিজের নামে কখনোই হচ্ছে রেসপন্ড করে না, সে নিজের নামে কখনোই হচ্ছে সাড়া দেয় না, বিকজ সে জানে যে অ্যাকচুয়ালি তার জন্য ফাঁদ পাতা রয়েছে। সো দ্যাট ইজ what it is. She has seen in the panchayat office just today the notice for the reward in her name. Mushai Tudu's wife had said, "What are you looking at? Who is Dobdi Mejen? Money, if you give her up." So what we find here is that this poster, this notice that was put on the panchayat office came in front of, what can you say, everyone. Okay, and what we find here is that they are setting up traps everywhere. They are setting up traps in order to get to the core of this whole rebellious activities, and they see that how much, 200. So the award or the reward, to say, the reward for her head, or not her head, or information about her, is 200. Oh God, Mushai's wife said outside the office, a lot of preparation this time. 11 new policemen. Don't come again. Why? Mushai's wife looked down. Tudu says that Sahib has come again. If they catch you, the village or our hearts. So they will burn again. So what we find here is that this is not just a torture on one single person. The torture will be brought on the whole community because they are helping them. Okay, they will burn down the whole village, they will burn down the whole village and all the hearts because they are actually sympathetic to this cause. They will not be dealing with in a justified way, they will not be um considering who is criminal and who is not, but they will come and burn the whole house or whole village. This is the condition of the society. This was the condition of the society, better to say, where the atrocity of the police or the army was at the topmost point. And what we find here is that here they are allowing Dobdi to come take a rise occasionally, but what we find here is that they are also afraid of their well-being. They are afraid of their own existence. Okay, they will burn again. So the word again is important because this has happened in past. Okay, they know what the army or what the police can do for supporting the rebels. Yes, and about Dukhiram, the Sahib knows Shomai and Budhna betrayed us. So there are people who are among themselves who betrayed them. And where are they? Ran away by train. Dobdi thought of something. They said, go home, I don't know what will happen. If they catch me, don't know me. So, what Dobdi is presenting? Dobdi is presenting a character, or Mahasweta Devi is presenting a character through Dobdi, where she can take hold of things which are not generally put into the mold of a woman. Why I am saying so? Because women are considered, or women are portrayed as weak, women are portrayed as naive. But here Dobdi is much above all those women. She is independent. Obviously she has a husband, or she had her husband, but what we find here is that she runs a rebellion. Not it would be wrong to say that she runs a rebellion, but she helps a rebellion to function at the chiefest points. Okay, she is the link between their survival and their attack. Clear? So what we find here is that Dobdi is not a person who is just concerned about her own well-being. She is also concerned about the well-being of the people who had helped her and her community. Clear? So what we find here is that this description of her, where she says her to go back and if they catch me, don't know me. So don't ever try to bring any help to me. So the Tudu's wife is asking, can't you run away? No. Tell me, how many times can I run away? What will they do if they catch me? They will counter me? Let them. So Dobdi is a courageous woman. She is not afraid of anything. She has run away in past, but she is tired of that. She says that she is not willing to, what can you say, she is not willing to run again or elope again. What we find here is that she is full of bravado And what we find here is that she is wanting to, that is, counter me means encounter me. What will they do? But what we find here is that she has no idea of what these people are mm, at par, or what can these people what, not these people, it is people, the word people is ascribed to everyone, but this army or the police officers can do. Okay, so what we find here is that she is not aware of what the things this army can do. Okay, encountering is the end of everything. That is, shooting you is the end of everything. Right. But for a woman, more trauma is there when her honor, her, what can you say, her honor is destroyed. Clear? Munshi's wife said, "We have nowhere else to go." Dobdi said softly, "I won't tell anyone's name." So, contrasting to Draupadi of Mahabharata, what we find, Dobdi is a self-reliant person, self-reliant woman. The emphasis should be on woman, where she is not, she is taking help for rice and everything, but she is not asking for help, or she will not ask for help if she gets caught. Okay, she will be all alone. Clear? And that makes this Draupadi or Dobdi more powerful. Clear? Draupadi of Mahabharata is no doubt powerful for her eloquence, for her so enigmatic character and the characteristics that she holds. She has brought down the whole army of people against her with her own eloquence and freed her husbands. But what we find here is that Draupadi is not able to free her husband, that is true. She is not able to save her husband, that is also true. But what we find here is that she is a person, and that is a tragedy, that she as a person is not dependent on anyone. That is her positive side. In spite of being a person who is relegated to the margins, in spite of being a person who is forced to uh, bring on or face the troubles of the society, um, in spite of all those things, she will not break down in front of anyone. Okay, so Dobdi says that she won't name anyone who has helped her or who are in her community. Clear? Dobdi knows, has learned by hearing so often and so long, how one can come to terms with torture. If mind and body give way under torture, Dobdi will bite off her tongue. That is the amount of ferociousness, that is the amount of courage, that is the amount of bravado that is present within this Dobdi. Okay, this tribal woman. She has known, she has information about the kind of torture that is brought down on them, the kind of torture that is brought down on people. But what she is saying, if mind and body give up to the torture, she will bite off her tongue, so that she is not uh, she is not going to name anyone. That boy did it. They countered him. When they counter you, your hands are tied behind you. All your bones are crushed. Your sex is terribly wounded. Killed by police in an encounter. Unknown male, age 22. So, he is mentioning of some boy, she is mentioning some boy who had done this before, And what we find here is that the torture is not just an encounter through bullets. Okay, so the torture that is brought down by the police or the army is more on your body, and because your body is connected to your mind, it is they will hit your private parts. Okay, so that sexual parts or those organs will be terribly hit, so that you are crushed to the extreme point. Okay, and this is a symbol, or this is a, what can you say, a kind of um, hint, or it is a kind of signature mark that these people are being killed by police when their bones are crushed, when their sexual organs are terribly wounded, irrespective of their gender, irrespective of a person's gender, whether male or a female, they will be tortured like that. Okay, she knows all these things. She knows how to deal with it. She knows how to find a way to deal with it. And she is thinking all those things and moving along when her name is being called. Cleared? As she walked, thinking these thoughts, Dobdi heard someone calling Dobdi. যেটা বললাম সেটাই হচ্ছে, she is being called from behind. She didn't respond because she know what the traps are. She knows if she answers that, she will be asserting the fact that she is Dobdi. Clear? She didn't respond. She does not respond if called by her own name. Here her name is Upi Mejen. But who calls? So here her name is Upi Mejen, and this is disguise that she has taken. And if a person who is living under a different name is being called by her original name, she will be obviously suspicious, right? But for her own safety, it is very important to live in incognito mode. Okay, but who calls? Spines of suspicions are always unfurled in her mind. Hearing Dobdi, they stiffen like hedgehogs. Walking, she unrolls the film of known faces in her mind. Who? Not Shomra. Shomra is on the run. Shomai and Budhna are also on the run for other reasons. Not Golok. He is in Bakuli. Is it someone from Bakuli? After Bakuli, her name and Dulna's names were Upi Mejen and Mathang Maji. Here no one but Mushai and his wife knows their real names. Among the young gentlemen, not all of the previous batches knew. So for them it is a new place. For them it is a new place of existence, and for that their new name is being taken. So see the difference, or see the verses, these verses, that there a Sikh person, Arjan Singh, was replaced by another person, right? Senanayak. And what we find here is that here a different portion is taking place. And in this place, in case of Dobdi and Dulna, they cannot include different people. They are taking on different names. So the tactics is more or less the same. But when we consider the power of these tactics, what we find? We find that this tactics is very, very less as compared to what you see the army has or the police has. Clear? So People are changing, people are taking more actions. People are taking more action in order to get them caught, get this whole section caught. But they also know how to deal with it. They also know how to survive. Clear? So the versus, that is the police versus the tribals or the revolutionary tribals, if we consider that, what we will see? We will see that these people, the police, are more powerful when they are forming in new able, new, what can you say, new able personals are brought in. And more to say here is that new techniques are being brought in, because Senanayak knows how to deal with extreme left politics, okay, these kind of revolutions. Whereas for them, for Dulna and Dobdi, a usual technique, anyone who wants to go hiding would try to do what? Would try to use a different name, which is very, very simple. Right? So, they are very weak in consideration to what we are having or what we are facing. Clear? So, among these young gentlemen, not all the previous batches knew what their real names are. Here, except Mushai and his wife, Mushai Tudu and his wife, no one knows what their real names are. Clear? That was a troubled time. Dobdi is confused when she thinks about it. Operation Bakuli in Bakuli, Surja Sahu arranged with Biddi Babu to dig 2 tubers and 3 wells within the compound of his 2 houses. No water anywhere. Drought in Birbhum. Unlimited water in Surja Sahu's house. As clear as a cow's eyes. So what we find here is that the section of haves and have-nots are being created. Any revolution, any kind of revolt is created only when there is a section of have-nots. ওকে, যারা হচ্ছে না খেতে পাওয়া, না পাওয়ার শ্রেণী যখন তৈরি হতে থাকে, সেটাই যখন বড় হতে থাকে, তখনই সেই রেভলিউশনটা হতে থাকে। পুরো বীরভূম, থ্রু আউট বীরভূম ডিস্ট্রিক্ট, every section is filled with drought. খরা হয়েছে, সুখা হয়েছে, right? But what we find, there is unlimited water in Surja Sahu's house. So the center and periphery that we have seen or that we have discussed before is very, very pertinent in this case also. Surja Sahu is the center where the power is being put on, where he holds the power. So all the sources of production or the sources of existence which will be beneficial for everyone is there. Okay, is there at her house, at his house, sorry. Okay, whereas everyone else in the whole district is suffering from what? Is suffering from scarcity of water. Right? And what we find here is that if you are willing to help them, if you are willing to help the common people, you can easily do that. But no, people of the upper sections of the society or who are at the center holding the power, they want the power for themselves only. They do not consider the conditions of the weaker sections of the society or the marginalized section. And these have-nots, the difference between the haves and the have-nots actually create this revolution. So what he said, get your water with canal tax, everything is burning. What's my profit in increasing cultivation with tax money? Everything's on fire. So when Surja Sahu was asked to lend some water or give some water, he said, get your water through the canal tax. Everything is burning and you can get out of it. Right? But The common people ask, what's my profit in asking or increasing cultivation with tax money? ঠিক আছে, ট্যাক্স মানি দিয়ে করলে, ট্যাক্স দিয়ে জল এনে করলে আদৌ কি এই কাল্টিভেশনটা বাড়িয়ে তাদের কোনো লাভ হবে? উইল দেয়ার বি এনি প্রফিট ফর দেম? তাদের কোনো প্রফিট কিন্তু হবে না, রাইট? তাদের প্রফিটটা কি? তাদের প্রফিটটা তো সবজির তো আর দাম বাড়বে না, বা যারা কোনো চাষ করবে, ধান করবে, সেই চাষটা তো আর হবে না, সেই চাষে তো দাম তারা বেশি পাবে না, যে তারা ট্যাক্স দিয়ে এনেছে তাই। And what we find here is that Surya Sahu, who is considering for his own benefit only, is asking them to get out. And what we find here is that this section of the have-nots have no other path left for them except fighting for their own existence. Everything's on fire here means drought, khora hoyeche. Okay, so what we find here is that this revolution, which has taken so great position within the society, where the army needs to be brought down, where the police needs to be brought down over here to tackle all these kind of people who are actually peasants. তারা তো আর কিছু না, তারা শুধু সাধারণ চাষি, right? So they are nothing but peasants who have turned into rebels, who have turned into so-called Maos. Okay, they are Naxals, right? What we find here is that if their basic necessities were looked into by the people who are in power, it may be Surya Sahu, it may be the government, or it may be the panchayat, whoever might be, if they would have dealt with all these things, the problems of the people, in a sympathetic way, this revolution would not have erupted. সেটা কখনোই উঠতো না। But what they thought to control it in the high-handed way. Okay, by using the high-handed medium, they wanted to control everything, and that is why this condition has come up. Clear? And that is why the condition of the society has been brought down to a rebellious activity. Clear? And this is the condition of the society, where the haves, the group of haves who have got everything throughout their lives, they are always wanting to consolidate their things, their properties to themselves only. Okay, and whereas the weakest sections of the society, the marginalized, are relegated to the margins again and again, and they have no other way to take up arms or to die, or take up arms and die, whichever may be the path. Clear? So let's end it here.